My wife tried to destroy my livelihood after leaving me for being too small time. Hey Reddit, so I'm Ethan, 40, and I'm about to tell you a story that still makes my blood boil. My parents were always supportive, but they kind of let me do my own thing. I built my furniture business from the ground up, sawdust and sweat equity, you know. My employees are more like family than anything. Then I met Serafina. She was beautiful, ambitious. All wrong for me, apparently. She never really understood my passion, saw it as a hobby, something beneath her. Big mistake letting her into the business side of things. I thought we were a team. Boy, was I wrong. Now I'm picking up the pieces after she nearly ruined me. Think I'm overreacting? Just wait until you hear what she did. So, it was a Tuesday. I remember because Tuesdays are usually slow, a good day to catch up on invoices and orders. I was in the office, hunched over the computer when I noticed something off. A payment I didn't recognize, a big one. Almost 20 grand transferred out of the business account. My stomach lurched. I double-checked, triple-checked. Nope, not a mistake. The transfer was to a private account, SERAPHINAS private account. My hands started shaking. I felt this cold dread creep up my spine. I called her, heart hammering in my chest. She answered, all breezy like nothing was wrong. Hey honey, what's up? I asked her about the transfer, trying to keep my voice steady. Her response, oh that's just a little insurance. Insurance? I practically yelled, insurance for what? She actually laughed. Said something about needing to protect herself in case my little woodworking phase didn't pan out. My woodworking phase. The thing I'd poured my heart and soul into, the thing that put food on our table. She made it sound like some childish whim. I felt sick. Physically ill. Nausea churning in my gut. I couldn't breathe. I remember sinking into my chair, the room spinning. 20 grand. Gone. Not just the money but the trust. The respect, everything felt shattered. She didn't even try to hide her disdain. She said I was being dramatic, that I needed to be more realistic about the future. Realistic. Like she was the realistic one, bleeding our business dry while I slaved away in the workshop. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It was like a nightmare, but I couldn't wake up. That was the moment. The moment I knew everything was about to change. And not for the better. Okay, so after the whole woodworking phase comment, I tried to talk to her. Like really talk. I drove home, my mind racing, trying to figure out how we got here, how she could be so cold. I found her in the living room, flipping through some magazine about luxury yachts. Yachts. Seriously. I sat down, took a deep breath and said, Serafina, we need to talk about this. About the money, about us. She didn't even look up, just kept flipping pages like I wasn't even there. I tried again. Look, I understand you might be unhappy. Is there something I'm not doing, something we can work on? She finally graced me with her attention, a condescending smirk plastered on her face. Ethan, sweetie, you're just not getting it. This isn't about you, it's about me. I have ambitions, dreams. And frankly, you're holding me back. Holding her back, I was speechless. I worked my ass off 6, sometimes 7 days a week to provide for us, and I was holding her back. My voice started to shake. What are you talking about? We have a good life, a comfortable home, nice cars. She cut me off, waving her hand dismissively. Comfortable? Ethan, that's not enough for me. I want more. I deserve more. And I'm not going to waste my life stuck in some dusty workshop with you, watching you play with your little chisels. Little chisels. The tools my grandfather taught me to use, the tools that built our business. She made them sound like toys. My chest tightened. I felt this wave of anger wash over me, hot and prickly. This business isn't a joke, Serafina, it's my life's work, and you're treating it like it's nothing. She rolled her eyes. Oh please, your passion isn't marketable, Ethan. You're not scaling, you're not innovating, you're stuck in the past. This handcrafted, artisanal bullshit isn't going to make us rich. It's quaint, sure, but it's not sustainable. Sustainable, like some goddamn business school lecture. I was starting to see red. This wasn't a disagreement. This was calculated, deliberate. She was intentionally trying to hurt me, to diminish me, to make me feel small, and that's when it hit me. This wasn't normal. This wasn't a marital spat. This was something toxic, something truly, deeply fucked up. A week later, the bomb dropped. Serafina announced she wanted a divorce, just blurted it out over burnt toast and lukewarm coffee. I'm outgrowing you, Ethan, she said, like I was some ill-fitting pair of jeans. We're not on the same path anymore. Outgrowing me, like I was some sapling and she was a redwood. I couldn't even laugh. It was like a punch to the gut, the air knocked right out of me. I just stared at her, dumbfounded. The divorce itself wasn't the biggest shock. Okay, maybe it was a little shocking, hearing it said out loud, but after the whole woodworking phase and little chisels debacle, I knew it was coming. No, the real kicker was her reasoning. It wasn't just that we weren't compatible anymore or that we'd grown apart. No, according to Serafina, I was the problem. I was holding her back from her true potential. She actually said that, true potential, like she was some undiscovered genius trapped in a suburban hellscape with a simple woodworker. This whole thing sent me into a tailspin. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I'd walk into the workshop, look at my tools, and feel nothing. The joy was gone. The passion, the drive, the creativity, all replaced by this gnawing emptiness. I started questioning everything. My skills, my business, my worth. Maybe she was right. Maybe I was just a small-time nobody, playing with little chisels while the world passed me by. And then, the real escalation started. Serafina didn't just want a divorce, she wanted half of everything. My business, which I built with my own two hands, the house, the savings, everything. And she started dragging my parents into it. My parents. They called me concerned, confused, repeating Serafina's twisted version of events. She says you're not coping well, Ethan, my mom said, her voice laced with worry. That you're making rash decisions, that you need help. Help? I needed help from the woman who was systematically dismantling my life. Are you kidding me? Then came the whispers, the rumors. Serafina, the social butterfly, started spreading her narrative to anyone who would listen. I was unstable, reckless, a failed businessman. She even had the audacity to claim I was having a midlife crisis, and that the business was failing because of me. Failing. The business was thriving before she started siphoning off money for her insurance fund. I started getting weird looks from people in town, the kind of pitying glances you give someone who's lost their marbles. Even some of my long-time clients started asking questions, their voices laced with concern. Is everything all right, Ethan? We heard. It was a nightmare. A public fucking execution of my character. And the worst part. I felt powerless to stop it. I was drowning in self-doubt, paralyzed by the sheer audacity of her betrayal. I knew I needed to fight back, to defend myself, to reclaim my narrative, but I didn't know where to start. I was lost, adrift in a sea of lies and manipulation with no land in sight. This wasn't just about the business anymore. This was about my life, my sanity, my very being. And I knew, deep down, that I couldn't let her win. I just didn't know how. I finally broke down and told Leo everything. Leo's been with me since the beginning, practically family. He even worked with my grandpa back in the day. He's seen it all. I was hesitant at first, felt like admitting failure, airing dirty laundry, but I couldn't keep it bottled up anymore. I met him at our usual spot, this greasy spoon diner just outside of town. Over lukewarm coffee and burnt bacon, I spilled my guts. It's Serafina, Leo, I started, my voice cracking. She's leaving me. Leo nodded, his expression sympathetic. I'm sorry to hear that, Ethan, tough break. It's more than that, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. She's taking half the business. She's telling everyone I'm unstable, that the business is failing because of me. Leo's eyebrows shot up. Hold on. Half the business? What the hell is she talking about? The business is thriving, Ethan. Everyone knows that. I shook my head, the words tumbling out in a rush. She says I'm not ambitious enough, that my passion isn't marketable. She's been telling everyone I'm having a midlife crisis, that I'm reckless, unstable. Leo slammed his fist on the table, making me jump. Unstable, reckless, that's bullshit, Ethan. You're the most level-headed, hardworking guy I know. Serafina's the one who's acting crazy. I told him about the 20 grand, about the insurance comment, about the little chisels remark, about her condescending attitude, her complete disregard for my work, my life. With each word, Leo's face grew darker, his jaw clenched tighter. By the time I finished, he was practically speechless. He just stared at me, shaking his head. I can't believe it, he finally said, his voice thick with disbelief. She's trying to destroy you, Ethan, plain and simple. That's when something shifted. Hearing him say it out loud, so plainly, so unequivocally, it was like a punch to the gut, but a good one, a clarifying one. It was like I was finally seeing the situation for what it was. Not some marital spat, not some misunderstanding, but a deliberate, calculated attack. She doesn't see the value in what you do, Leo continued, his voice softer now but firm. She doesn't understand the connection you have with your clients, the stories behind each piece you create. She sees dollar signs, not the legacy you're building. Legacy. That word resonated with me. It was something Serafina could never understand, something she could never touch. Leo reached across the table and squeezed my shoulder. Don't let her win, Ethan. Don't let her take what you've built. You're talented, you're respected, and you have people who believe in you, remember that. And in that moment, surrounded by the greasy spoon's stale coffee smell and the clatter of dishes, something inside me clicked. The self-doubt started to recede, replaced by a flicker of anger. Not the hot, blinding rage I'd felt before, but a cold, hard determination. Leo was right. I wouldn't let her win. I wouldn't let her take what was mine. I would fight back. I would rebuild. I would prove her wrong. And that, right there in that greasy spoon diner, was the turning point. The moment I stopped being a victim and started being a fighter. The divorce papers arrived like a death sentence. 50%. She got 50% of the business I poured my blood, sweat, and tears into. My grandfather's legacy, reduced to a line item in a legal document. I felt numb, signing the papers, my hand trembling as I scrawled my name on the dotted line. Serafina, ever the picture of grace and composure, watched me with a smirk playing on her lips. As I handed the signed papers back to her lawyer, she leaned in, her voice dripping with venom. "You'll be bankrupt within a year without me," she whispered, her eyes glinting with malicious glee. Bankrupt. The word hung in the air, thick and heavy like a toxic cloud. That was it. The final straw. The moment everything changed. The numbness shattered, replaced by a white-hot rage that coursed through my veins. It was like a switch flipped inside me. Up until that point, I'd held onto a sliver of hope, a foolish belief that maybe, just maybe, there was still some good in her. Some shred of the woman I thought I knew. But that one sentence, that cruel, calculated prediction of my ruin, it obliterated any remaining doubt. She didn't just want out, she wanted to destroy me. To watch me crumble and burn. My hands clenched into fists, my knuckles turning white. I looked at her, really looked at her, and saw not the woman I loved but a monster. A cold, heartless predator who had used me, abused me, and now sought to erase me. A wave of nausea washed over me, but beneath it, a new feeling surged. Resolve. I didn't say a word. I just turned and walked away, leaving her standing there with her smug smile and her venomous words. I walked out of that sterile office, out into the blinding sunlight, and took a deep breath. The air filled my lungs, and with it came a sense of clarity, of purpose. I knew what I had to do. I wouldn't let her win. I would fight. I would rebuild. I would not only survive, but I would thrive. I would honor my grandfather's legacy, and I would show Serafina and the whole damn world what I was made of. That was the moment. The moment I stopped being a victim and started being a warrior. The moment the sawdust inheritance became more than just a business. It became my battle cry. All right, Reddit, buckle up, because this is where the real fight began. After Serafina's bankrupt in a year prophecy, I went into war mode. This wasn't just about saving my business. It was about my pride, my legacy, everything. First things first, I lawyered up. Found a bulldog of an attorney, a guy who looked like he ate nails for breakfast. Showed him the divorce papers, told him about the siphoned funds, the smear campaign, the whole damn thing. He listened, didn't interrupt, just took notes with this steely look in his eyes. When I was finished, he simply said, "We've got work to do." And I knew, right then and there, that I was in good hands. Next, I gathered evidence. Every bank statement, every email, every text message where Serafina showed her true colors. Remember that insurance comment, printed and filed. The little chisels dig, screenshot and SAVED. I even dug up old business plans, showing the healthy trajectory before Serafina got her claws into the finances. I became a forensic accountant of my own damn life. Then came the strategic planning. I knew I couldn't fight Serafina head-on, not yet. She had too much momentum, too much influence. I had to be smart. I decided to focus on what I did have, my skills, my loyal clients, and my reputation for quality. I honored every existing order, working late into the night, pouring every ounce of my anger and frustration into each piece. I contacted my clients personally, explained the situation, without bashing Serafina. I stayed classy, and reassured them that I was still committed to delivering the best damn furniture they could ask for. And you know what? They rallied around me. The outpouring of support was overwhelming. They offered encouragement, referrals, even small loans to help me get back on my feet. That's when I knew I had something Serafina could never take away: genuine connection. The hardest part was securing capital. Banks weren't exactly throwing money at a newly divorced guy with a business split in half. But I wasn't about to give up. I leveraged everything I had, including some of my personal tools, yes, even the little chisels, to secure a small business loan. It was a huge risk, putting everything on the line like that, but I had no choice. I had to rebuild, and I had to do it fast. Finally, the mental and emotional prep. This was the hardest part, Reddit. I was a mess. The betrayal, the self-doubt, the fear it was crippling. I started seeing a therapist, someone to help me process the trauma and rebuild my confidence. Leo was a rock, too, constantly reminding me of my worth, my skills, my passion. She doesn't understand what you've got, Ethan, he'd say. She doesn't see the fire in your belly, the sawdust in your soul. And slowly, painfully, I started to believe him again. I channeled my anger into my work, into my planning, into my recovery. I started visualizing my success, picturing my new workshop, filled with the hum of machinery and the scent of fresh wood. I wouldn't let her break me. I would rise from the ashes, stronger and more determined than ever. So yeah, that was my plan. A mix of legal maneuvering, financial strategizing, and some serious soul-searching. It was a long shot, but I was ready to fight. I was ready to show Serafina and the whole damn world that I wasn't just a small-time woodworker. I was a force to be reckoned with, a master craftsman, a survivor, and I was about to reclaim my inheritance. 6 months later, my new workshop was humming. Smaller, yeah, but mine. The smell of cedar and sawdust hung in the air, a familiar comfort. I was sanding down a cherry wood tabletop, lost in the rhythm of the work when the door swung open. Serafina. She stood there, framed in the doorway, looking smaller than I remembered. Her designer clothes looked a little too loose, her perfectly coiffed hair a little less perfect. The air crackled with tension. Leo, who was helping me with a delivery, stiffened beside me. Ethan, she began, her voice surprisingly soft. We need to talk. I kept sanding, not even looking up. I don't think we have anything to talk about, Serafina. She stepped further into the workshop, her heels clicking on the concrete floor. Please, she said, her voice catching. It's important. I finally stopped sanding, met her gaze, the defiance I'd been cultivating flared. Is it about the alimony? She flinched. No, she said quickly. It's about the business. I raised an eyebrow. The business you said I'd bankrupt within a year. Her eyes darted around the workshop, taking in the half-finished projects, the stacks of lumber, the gleam of my tools. I made a mistake, she stammered. A big one. I almost laughed. A mistake. Siphoning off 20 grand, publicly humiliating me, trying to steal half my life's work that wasn't a mistake. That was a declaration of war, and I'd won. A mistake, I repeated, my voice dripping with irony. Is that what you're calling it? She wrung her hands, a flicker of panic in her eyes. I see now that I was wrong, she continued, her voice trembling. About the business, about you, I miss working with you, Ethan, I miss us. Us, I scoffed. There is no us, Serafina. You made that abundantly clear 6 months ago. She took another step closer, her eyes pleading. I know, but I've changed. I realize now how much I need you, your talent, your vision. My grip tightened on the sander. Vision. She was twisting the knife, using my own words against me. This wasn't remorse, this was desperation. Let me be blunt, Serafina, I said, my voice low and steady. You're not here because you miss me or the business, you're here because you need money. Her face paled. She opened her mouth to protest, but I cut her off. Don't insult my intelligence, I said, my voice hardening. Your little real estate venture tanked, didn't it? The high-flying lifestyle you so desperately craved, it's gone, and now you're crawling back, hoping I'll bail you out. She flinched again, her eyes welling up with tears. Ethan, please. No, I said, my voice firm. I'm done. I'm done with your lies, your manipulations, your constant need to tear me down. I've rebuilt my business, bigger and better than before. I have loyal clients who value my work, employees who respect me, and a life I'm proud of. And you have nothing. The tears finally spilled over, streaking her mascara. But the business, she choked out. Half of it is mine, I smiled, a cold, hard smile that felt foreign on my face. Not anymore, I said, pulling a folded document from my back pocket. I bought you out, Serafina, for pennies on the dollar. Consider it a parting gift. I held out the document, watching as her eyes widened in disbelief. Leo let out a low whistle beside me. The power had shifted. I could feel it in the air, in the way she looked at me, the fear and panic swirling in her eyes. The predator had become the prey. She snatched the document, her hands shaking so violently she almost dropped it. She scanned the pages, her face a mask of shock and horror. You can't do this, she shrieked, her voice cracking. I already did, I said calmly, turning back to my workbench. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have work to do. She stood there for a moment, speechless, the document clutched in her hand like a lifeline. Then, without another word, she turned and fled, her heels clicking a frantic retreat against the concrete floor. The silence that followed was deafening. Leo clapped me on the back, a wide grin splitting his face. Damn, Ethan, he said, shaking his head. That was cold. I looked at him, a genuine smile finally breaking through. Yeah, I said, the tension draining from my shoulders. It felt good. The sawdust inheritance was finally mine, and it felt like a goddamn victory. It's been a year since Serafina stormed out of my workshop, a year since I reclaimed my inheritance. The dust has settled, both literally and figuratively, and I can finally look back on this whole mess with some clarity. The immediate fallout was interesting. Word spread like wildfire through our small town. Some people were shocked, some were sympathetic, and some, I'm sure, were secretly thrilled to see Serafina get knocked down a peg or two. My parents, bless their hearts, were initially worried, but once they saw how well I was doing, they became my biggest cheerleaders. My employees, loyal as ever. They stood by me through thick and thin, and I couldn't be more grateful for their support. Leo, of course, was my rock, my confidant, my partner in crime. He even helped me expand the workshop, bringing in some of his old contacts and sharing his years of experience. The business is thriving. Turns out, people appreciate quality craftsmanship and genuine connection more than Serafina ever gave them credit for. I've got a backlog of orders, I'm hiring new apprentices, and I'm even exploring some exciting collaborations with other local artisans. I'm not just surviving, I'm flourishing. It's a testament to hard work, dedication, and the unwavering belief in what I do. And you know what? It feels damn good. There are still challenges, of course. The financial strain of starting over was rough, and the emotional scars of Serafina's betrayal still linger. I'm more cautious now, more guarded. Trusting people is harder, and I'm definitely more careful about who I let into my inner circle. But it's a small price to pay for the lessons I've learned. This whole experience changed me, Reddit. I'm not the same naive, trusting guy I was a year ago. I'm stronger, more resilient, more confident in my own abilities. I've learned the hard way that not everyone has your best interests at heart, and that sometimes you have to fight for what you believe in, even when it's terrifying. I've learned to value authenticity over ambition and genuine relationships over superficial success. And most importantly, I've learned the true meaning of the sawdust inheritance. It's not just about the business, it's about the passion, the dedication, the legacy that's passed down through generations. It's about the sawdust in my soul. So, Reddit, what do you think? Have you ever had to rebuild your life after a betrayal? What lessons did you learn? I'd love to hear your stories.